Two people sit down to the same dinner. Same plate, same portion, same everything. One of them is 6 feet tall. The other is 5'4". By the end of the year, the shorter person is more likely to have gained weight from that exact same habit. This isn't in your head, and it isn't about willpower. It comes down to basic physics, biology, and a number most people have never actually looked up: their basal metabolic rate. Every single day, your body burns calories just to keep you alive. Breathing, pumping blood, repairing cells, keeping your organs running, all of it costs energy, even if you never leave the couch. This baseline burn is called your basal metabolic rate, or BMR, and for most adults it accounts for roughly 2/3 of all the calories they use in a day. Here's the part that matters for height. Basal metabolic rate scales with body size, but not in a simple straight line. A taller body has more surface area and more total tissue to maintain, so it typically needs more fuel just to idle. Research comparing short and tall adults has found that taller people tend to have a higher basal metabolic rate in absolute terms, even when body weight is similar. Think of it like engine size. A bigger engine burns more fuel at idle, even when the car isn't moving. Now picture two people who weigh exactly the same, but one is noticeably taller. You might assume their calorie needs are identical since the number on the scale matches. They're not. The taller person's body is more spread out, more surface area, generally more muscle mass carried across a longer frame, and that adds up to a higher metabolic cost at rest. The shorter person, carrying the same weight on a smaller frame, is often working with a lower baseline burn. That means their maintenance calories, the amount of food that keeps their weight exactly where it is, sits lower too. Eat the same as a taller friend, and the numbers stop lining up. What was maintenance for one person becomes a slow, steady surplus for the other. Muscle tissue is metabolically expensive. It burns more energy at rest than fat does, which is one reason people with more lean muscle tend to have a higher metabolic rate. Height correlates with skeletal frame size, and a bigger frame generally supports more total muscle mass. Shorter individuals, on average, carry a smaller frame and less total muscle, which pulls their resting burn rate down even further. This is also why the same calorie count can build muscle more efficiently on a shorter frame, since more of the surplus is available for tissue repair rather than being burned off by a bigger idling engine. It cuts both ways. The same trait that makes muscle gain a little easier is the trait that makes fat gain easier too, if the food side of the equation isn't adjusted. Most nutrition advice is built around averages. Standard calorie targets, generic meal plans, even the serving sizes printed on food packaging are calibrated to an average-sized adult, not to you specifically. If you're shorter than average, that average target is quietly too high. You could be following the exact same plan as everyone else in your friend group and still be the one gaining, simply because the math underneath the plan was never built for your frame. This is not a character flaw, and it isn't a slower metabolism in the mysterious sense people usually mean when they blame their metabolism. It's a measurable difference in how much fuel a smaller body needs to simply exist. The fix isn't more willpower, it's better math. Portion sizes calibrated to your actual size rather than a generic average close most of the gap. Building and maintaining muscle raises your baseline burn regardless of your height, so resistance training earns you a bit more room in your food budget over time. And tracking your intake, even loosely for a couple of weeks, is often the fastest way to find out where your real maintenance number sits, instead of guessing based on what works for someone a foot taller than you. Height is not destiny here. It just changes the starting numbers. If this explains something that's been frustrating you for years, hit subscribe, because we break down the real science behind the body's confusing rules every week. And if you know someone who's ever said, "I swear I eat less than my friends and still gain weight," send them this video. It might be the first honest answer they've gotten.